three-judge bench of Justices Vikram Nath, Sandeep Mehta and N.V. Anjaria have reserved their order in the stray dog Supreme Court case. The hearing followed widespread protests against the top court's order directing the blanket removal of Delhi stray dogs from all NCR localities. The bench asked why authorities in several areas started picking up the animals even before the early order became public. The Supreme Court also came down heavily on the authorities for not implementing guidelines for animal control, leading to this situation. The hearing saw a highly charged debate as senior advocate Kapil Sibal argued that the August 11th order should be stayed, warning that forcing all dogs into shelters could lead to cruelty, culling and public health risks. Meanwhile, Solicitor General Tushar Mehta said that more than 37 lakh dog bites are reported in India annually and highlighted the public safety concerns driving the Supreme Court order on stray dogs, arguing that the order to shift all stray dogs in Delhi NCR cannot be implemented. Sibal said this order does not apply because there are no shelter homes. The order said stray dogs must not be released. This too does not apply because there are no shelter homes. The order to pick up stray dogs must also be stayed. Where will they be taken, quote unquote? Well, senior advocate Abhishek Singhvi, meanwhile appearing for one of the petitioners, said all directions in the August 11th order put cart before the horse. Justice Nath came down heavily on civic authorities and said that Parliament frames rules and laws, but they are not implemented. Anupam Tripathi, animal rights activist, is joining us live. Dr. Anil Singh, owner of Creative Veterinary Hospital, Ghaziabad, is with us. Dr. Avnish Narayan Mathur, animal rights activist, joins us live. Kamna Pandey, co-opted member, AWBI, is also with us on the broadcast. Thank you all for being with us today on NewsX. Let me make a start with you first. Anupam Tripathi, how do you react to this, this hearing today in this case? The order, of course, has been reserved, but some of the observations, of course, give us an idea of what that final order could be in this matter.
Well, you see, the initial, when the orders of the Supreme Court came, I'm talking about 3 days back, they were very unfortunate. And it just doesn't make sense. You cannot pick up 3 lakh dogs from the streets of Delhi and put them in a pound. It requires infrastructure, it will require feeding cost, and it's just not possible. It hasn't been possible for all this while. Wherever they have tried it in various other countries, they have failed. So this is, this was just a very bad order and a bad solution to an existing problem, which obviously needed a challenge. And I'm happy with whatever that's happening now with Kapil Sibal and Abhishek Manu Singhvi and everybody challenging this. And I'm hoping that, better sense, common sense will prevail. And people who actually understand how, what the situation is to do with dogs, how, they would, be able to provide better solutions to the court.
Dr. Anil Singh, let me also draw you in here. Dr. Anil Singh, what do you believe could be a middle ground? Because that is something, of course, that the Apex Court is hoping for. What do you believe could be a middle ground in this matter?
Sorry, आवाज clear नहीं आ रही sir.
Dr. Anil Singh, मैं कह रहा हूँ बीच का रास्ता क्या हो सकता है? What can be a middle ground in this case? That is what the that is what these petitioners who asked for a review are hoping for.
बीच का रास्ता सर, ये सबसे ये जो रास्ता है जो है गवर्नमेंट को कहना है इस चीज के लिए अवेयरनेस और ये सारी चीजें कराना चाहिए। और सबसे ज्यादा ये है कि सर एकदम से अगर ये गवर्नमेंट ये कहती है कि भाई हम सभी डॉग्स को एक साथ में जाके यहाँ पे ऐसे शेल्टर्स में रखते हैं, गवर्नमेंट्स के पास एक भी शेल्टर तो है नहीं अभी। ऐसा जैसे सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो फैसला किया वो तो मैं तो नहीं मानता उस चीज में कि भाई उसके फेवर में है ना, एज ए डॉक्टर। क्योंकि सर बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं, क्योंकि बहुत सारे डॉग्स होते हैं जो सिक एनिमल्स भी होते हैं, हेल्दी होते हैं, तो एकदम से आप शेल्टर आपके पास व्यवस्था है नहीं, तो उस चीज पे पहले एक छोटे लेवल्स पे एबीसी का प्रोग्राम स्टार्ट किया जाए गवर्नमेंट्स की तरफ से, जैसे स्टरलाइजेशन हो, पॉपुलेशन कंट्रोल होगी, देन फिर उसके बाद आप एक गवर्नमेंट एक ऐसा सेंटर प्रोवाइड करे जिसमें हेल्दी एनिमल्स को अलग से, एक्सीडेंटल केसेस भी होते हैं, बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, तो एकदम से नहीं हो पाएगा सर, है ना
जी। Dr. Avnish Narayan Mathur is also with us now. Dr. Avnish Narayan Mathur, the Supreme Court hearing today, how do you view the observations and the arguments which were put forth by all sides in this order, of course, in this hearing, today? The order has been reserved. We await that. But how do you view the hearing panning out today?
Well, the Supreme Court order that came on 11th of August, it was very atrocious in nature, and it dealt like a lightning bolt to all the animal lovers in the country. We were not expecting this from the highest court of a country. See, it's not only about animals, it's also about the sentiments of millions of animal lovers in India. You cannot just, neglect all of them. And I have been running an animal shelter myself for the last 4 years, and I can confidently say this thing: the government doesn't have the experience, number one. Number two, they don't have the resources to operate an animal shelter successfully. There are various set of challenges to run an animal shelter. The government doesn't have any of them. So if, let's suppose, if they start picking up dogs and create some kind of structures overnight and start thrashing them in the overnight shelters, it will ultimately lead to countless deaths of these animals. I can guarantee you this thing. It will lead to animal cruelty. It will lead to deaths. So this judgment of Supreme Court is not acceptable to me, and I would certainly say this thing. This needs to be looked down, and very rightly quoted by Advocate Singhvi today, that the government is just, the court is just putting the cart before the horse. They are not doing the things in the right manner. First, you should build animal shelters first, let them operate, and then you will see what are the challenges of running an animal shelter. You are just running some sterilization ABC units, which you have failed miserably. So this is my take on it. I do not support it, and if that happens, it will be a black day in the history of India.
Bring in Kamna Pandey at this point. Kamna Pandey, the Apex Court, of course, has been hearing these pleas very, very patiently. The CJI had said he would relook at this case, which is why this new bench, of course, was formed by him. The hearing today has panned out for quite a while. How do you view the observations made today by both sides?
There were very few observations. One that stands out is that the honorable judge was shocked to know that even before the order was out, the order was uploaded, 700 dogs had already been rounded up. My fellow panelists have already told, there are no shelters, no pounds, no places where they could have been taken to. I do not know what has happened to them. So today, there's very little that the judge has said. More was said by the two counsels that were representing the two sides. What I can say, the earlier order, for which this commission is reviewing, that Supreme Court's order to remove all street dogs from Delhi and NCR in just 8 weeks, it is not just a logistical impossibility, it is an environmental, legal, moral disaster. We have forgotten the lessons that we have learned from history. History has taught us some lessons. 1994 Surat plague. It happened because overnight the dogs were killed over there. Dogs were removed from the streets. The rat population exploded, resulted in plague. In 1880 in Paris, dogs were removed. Same thing happened over there. The rat population multiplied in such disastrous numbers that they flooded the roads, the houses, and they eventually had to bring back the dogs. That is just one side of ecological impact of removing one of the factors of which the ecological balance has achieved with those factors in the equation. When one scavenger is removed from the streets, another scavenger will take its place. Are we more comfortable with an exploded population of monkeys and then go ahead and exterminate the monkeys also? The dogs keep the wildlife inside the jungles because they protect their territory. Otherwise, कोई दीवार तो नहीं होती है ना जंगल की, यहाँ पे दीवार बनी हुई है और यहाँ से शहर शुरू होता है. There are no boundaries. The wild animals stay inside the jungles because of these dogs. Are we more comfortable with the snakes, the leopards, the wild boars, the Nile guys roaming in our streets? We are more comfortable with that. Have we evaluated the environmental impact of removing all the dogs from the streets? I don't think so. Apart from this, there is an example that I would want to give. Mao Zedong in China, he had ordered extermination of all sparrows because he thought that they are destroying the crops and it'll increase the yield. What happened was something that he never thought of. The locust population exploded and the worst famine resulted in China, and they had to buy and import those very sparrows from Russia. These are the few lessons that we need to understand, that there is an impact, there is a role every animal, every being has to play. That is how the ecology developed. There are certain nations where dogs are not there, their ecology developed with the dogs not being in the equation. Here it has developed with the dogs, which is why it is important that we implement ABC. With ABC, the dog population will slowly phase out.
Right.
And the ecology will revise itself.
That is the big question, of course, at what the possible middle grounds could be, Dr. Avnish Narayan Mathur. You know, at the end of the day, there needs to be a solution, because dog bite cases have been increasing in, urban cities. So there needs to be some sort of middle ground or some sort of solution. What could that be, Dr. Mathur?
Well, the best possible solution would be first, an effective ABC program across the country. For the last many decades, the government and the municipalities have failed to do this thing. So the very first thing, just like the Supreme Court wants the dogs to be, a blanket removal of dogs overnight in just 8 weeks. If they think that this can happen in just 8 weeks, why not? Why cannot the sterilization program? So the first thing is sterilization program to control the population. Second thing, their vaccinations. So because we are also an animal welfare organization, we have done the vaccination drives for anti-rabies many times, and it has created a very very good difference on the ground. So we can see the city in which we are living, we do not hardly get any cases of rabies. And in today's hearing also, the advocates also quoted the government figures that since 2020 till 2025, these are the official figures of the government, that there have been 0 rabies deaths. So whatever figures were quoted before the bunch earlier, those were not correct. And also I can also say this thing, that if anti-rabies program is implemented by the government, then the future in future also, the rabies number of cases of rabies that are being reported, that it will drastically go down. The whole country and each and every district of the country can be rabies free. So these, according to me, these two, but it should be done in a humane manner, not like this. A blanket execution of all the animals is not the solution that we advocate for. It should be done in a very humane manner, sterilization and vaccinations.
Anupam Tripathi, according to you, what could that middle ground be? What would be your appeal to the bench, before they pronounce that final order?
Yeah, can you repeat your question again? Because
middle ground in the matter. What would be the middle ground in the matter?
Repeat your question again, please.
Anupam, can you hear me? I don't think he can hear me. Okay, Anil Singh, let me quickly draw you in here. Dr. Anil Singh, सवाल ये भी है कि अब तक सरकारों ने भी क्यों, राज्य सरकारों ने भी क्यों कड़े कदम नहीं उठाए हैं? क्यों हमेशा उच्च न्यायालय पे बात आती है तभी जाके कदम अपनाए जाते हैं, सुझाव लाए जाते हैं सामने? राज्य सरकारों ने भी क्या इस मसले को हल करने के लिए कुछ किया क्यों नहीं, और क्या किया है या नहीं किया आपके नजरिए? डॉक्टर अनिल, सवाल आपके लिए है.
हाँ, हेलो. हाँ जी सर.
कामना पांडे, कैन यू, इफ यू कैन हियर मी, प्लीज गो अहेड.
जी, आवाज आ रही है.
यस कामना, गो अहेड.
ओके, सो व्हाट आई वांट टू से कि जो राज्य सरकारों की आप बात करें या सेंट्रल सरकारों की आप बात करें, यहाँ पर जो कुछ भी आपको दिख रहा है ये फेलियर सरकार का है। आप 2001 में यू गॉट द एबीसी रूल्स, आपने 24 साल में क्या किया? आप वैक्सीनेशन नहीं करते हैं, आप स्टरलाइजेशन नहीं करते हैं, आप अवेयरनेस नहीं करते हैं। लेट मी प्लीज रिपीट वन पॉइंट विच आई हैड सेड अर्लियर आल्सो, दैट रेबीज से कोई इंसान इसलिए नहीं मरता है क्योंकि उसे कुत्ते ने काट लिया है। रेबीज से इंसान इसलिए मरता है क्योंकि उसने वैक्सीनेशन के इंजेक्शंस नहीं लिए हैं। जस्ट लाइक टेटनस, आपको टेटनस का अगर खरोंच भी लग जाएगा जंग के लोहे से, यू आर गोइंग टू डाई अनलेस यू टेक टेटनस का इंजेक्शन। तो इट इज एज सिंपल एज दैट। गवर्नमेंट हैज फेल्ड ऑन सो मेनी काउंट्स। अवेयरनेस नहीं फैला पाई है, वो नहीं बता पाई है अपने सिटीजन्स को कि आपको 5 इंजेक्शन का कोर्स लेना है, दैट इज मैंडेटरी इफ यू वांट टू सर्वाइव। इफ इन केस द डॉग हु हैज बिटन यू और द कैट और काउ, एनीथिंग दैट हैज बिटन यू हैपेंस टू बी रैबिट, सो ये तो फेलियर गवर्नमेंट का ही है। I would say the sterilization programs in whichever cities you were asking for solution के लिए हमें किधर और देखने की जरूरत नहीं है। हमारे अपने देश में there are so many cities that have implemented sterilization program very well. We have to see our neighbor Bhutan, 100% rabies free. It learned from us. It learned from us and it implemented it in much better fashion. And today it has 100% sterilized dog population, community dog population. So it is very unfortunate the government failed, put the blame on the dog. You have also failed to implement the Prevention of Cruelty on Animals Act. You have failed in stopping the daily continuous cruelty on dogs. These are two things. One is sterilization, which controls the population. The second is cruelty. Dogs react to cruelty. They never attack unprovoked. You do not stop the cruelty, the dog is going to react one day. A million times you kick him, one time he will turn around and bite you. If there are biting dogs, then just imagine, एक केस आप सुनते हो कि फला शहर में, फला गली में, फला मोहल्ले में एक कुत्ते ने काट लिया. That dog has not been imported from somewhere. He has lived his life and grown up to get to whatever age he has gotten, and और कोई bite तो नहीं हुई ना. Someday he has reacted. Something must have happened. Maybe sometimes जिसको जो victim होता है उसने नहीं किया हो. Sometimes you pull the tail of a dog and the person right next to its mouth, he gets bitten. Pet dogs have a different temperament. Community dogs never bite. Pet dogs can be aggressive or they can be friendly. Community dogs are always friendly. Unless they are threatened for their own existence, unless they are threatened for their own survival, when there is perpetual, sustained, continuous human hostility on them, their body language changes. All these panelists who are sitting with me,
Right.
I can vouch that when they go
Okay.
and they see a dog, they can tell that there is human cruelty happening
Okay,
over
point
here.
taken. We'll have to leave it at that. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us on this discussion. I think we're having some audio issues with our other guests as well.